The Millionaire Fastlane, Crack the Code to Wealth and Live Rich for a Lifetime by M.J. Demarco. Chapter 15, Slow Lane Victory, A Gamble of Hope. I'd rather live in regret of failure than in regret of never trying. M.J. Demarco. Exodus, Life in the Slow Lane. Wealth by the Slow Lane Roadmap is analogous to Exodus, the biblical story of Moses. God leads Moses out of Egyptian bondage into a daunting 40-year journey through the desert with the promise of a glorious future in the land of milk and honey. After a lifetime of toil and struggle, Moses arrives at the doorstep to his destination and wham! He dies. He never sees the promise of the journey because life has no guarantees. Sadly, slow lane wealth is akin to this long, perilous journey through the desert. It's a trip that takes decades to finish, starves your life, and makes no promises. Yes, graduate from college, get a good job, entrust your money to the stock market, serve the boss well, and you might be rewarded. In today's harrowing financial climate, I'm surprised people still believe it. But people do, and in legends. When I see sales figures for the slow lane books, I'm dumbfounded. Millions sold. How sad. Millions being led astray down a path littered with dangerous potholes and detours. A road that takes years to travel for a far-fetched promise of a freer tomorrow. To assume that you will live a long, healthy life is arrogant. To assume that life won't throw you any curves is naive. For the slow lane to prevail, it assumes life is predictable and forgiving. It isn't. You lose your job, you get sick, the car needs a new transmission, you get married, you get divorced, you have kids, you have a child with special needs, you have aging parents who need care, the economy dips into recession or depression. Life is a menagerie littered with crisis points, which make the slow lane roadmap a risky bet that consumes your most precious asset, time. 7 slow lane dangers. People drive the slow lane because it's what they've been told to drive. They believe the risks are minimal and it's safe. After all, 90% of all new businesses fail after 5 years, so the fast lane can't be any safer. If you lob a little logic into the slow lane narratives, you'll find that it's extremely hazardous and a plan based entirely on hope. Assumptions, decades of them, expose the slow lane's true risks. Choose to travel the road and choose to gamble. Here are the risks. The danger of your health. The slow lane hopes you will live long enough to enjoy the fruits of your savings as you hit your late stage years. Remember, you will have millions when you retire at 65. Will you be healthy enough to enjoy it? Alive? If you can't work your job, you can't make money. If you can't work, what happens to this plan? Also, avoid other calamities. Hope your job stress doesn't kill you and your family remains healthy. The danger of the job. The slow lane hopes that you'll be gainfully employed at all times, safely climbing the corporate ladder year after year. You must avoid layoffs, corporate politics, firings, poor industry cycles, job skill degradation, and a bad job market. The danger of your home. Home equity is lauded as a middle-class wealth vehicle. Many gurus have shouted from the rooftops, retire on your home equity, and your home is an asset, capital BS. The slow lane hopes that real estate values always rise, and it's patently false. In 2008, the value of my home equity plummeted $800,000. I disavow my home as an investment, and thankfully, I do not rely on it. The danger of the company. Not many companies outlive the centuries. If your retirement faith is put into one company in the form of either your job, your pension, or their stock, you hope the company survives. You make a bet. Many retirees discover too late that their retirement pensions are lost to mismanagement by company executives. Others who focus their wealth into one company's stock accept great risk that the stock will be worth more in the future. If you assign your retirement unto others, you then accept external risks that you can't control. When the torque of your financial plan resides with others, you're likely to lose control. The danger of your lifestyle. The slow lane begs you to settle and become a miser. Want to own an exotic car? Forget it. Want to live on a beach? Wishful thinking. If you cannot control your temptations of lifestyle improvement, a nicer home, a nicer car, a nicer meal out, the slow lane becomes slower and reverses course. The slow lane hopes your delayed gratification moves to no gratification. The danger of the economy. The slow lane hopes that your investments will yield a predictable 8% return year after year. You must believe the theory that buy and hold works. It doesn't, because economic busts, recessions, and depressions happen. For example, in 2008-2009, the equity markets lost nearly 60%. If you saved for 15 years and amassed $100,000, it would now be worth $40,000. It would take you 14 years at 8% yearly returns just to get back even. That equates to almost 30 years gone. And this doesn't account for inflation, which makes your $100,000 more like $50,000. The danger of the sidewalk. Frustrated slow laners often revert to the sidewalk. Why? Hope over control. When you can't control time, when you can't control your job, when you can't control 5 days of your life each week, you feel powerless. Emotions of helplessness create an environment ripe for instant gratification and lifestyle servitude. A study published in 2008 by the Journal of Consumer Research found that when people feel powerless and out of control, they have a strong desire to buy things that convey a high status. Why do they feel powerless? Simple. In the slow lane, you relinquish control because time is in control, and the gates to the sidewalk reopen. Hope is not a plan. Resistance is futile. When you perform an autopsy on the slow lane, you see its true colors. It's slow, it eats time, and it's risky. When a slow laner realizes the plan isn't working, he goes into overdrive. Overdrive in the slow lane is like pushing a car's accelerator to the floor, hoping its upper speed limits somehow will mystically extend higher, when in fact, the racetrack itself is the problem, not the accelerator. Yet a slow laner will try to manipulate his weak mathematical universe by trying to make the variables malleable. Manipulate intrinsic value by increasing hours worked. I need to make more money. Manipulate intrinsic value by changing jobs or adding jobs. I need to get paid more. Manipulate intrinsic value by going back to school. I need a better career. Manipulate compound interest by seeking better investment yields. I need better investments. Manipulate compound interest by expanding investment time horizon. I need more time. Manipulate compound interest by increasing the investment. I need to save more. Each of these 6 responses is a futile attempt to manipulate the impotence of the slow laner's wealth equation. Unfortunately, the limitations of the mathematics cannot be subverted, and doing so results in dangerous cause-effect cycles. When a slow laner wants to make more money, he increases his hours worked, switches to a better paying job, or adds jobs. When a slow laner wants to get paid more, he goes back to school, hoping to increase intrinsic value. When a slow laner realizes that a 3% investment return isn't building wealth fast enough, bigger risks are assumed for bigger returns. When a slow laner watches 40% of his nest egg disappear in an economic recession, he goes back to work arguing that 5 years is not enough to get back to even. You can't overcome the limitations of mathematics. A car that has a top speed of 10 miles per hour will always have a top speed of 10 miles per hour. no matter how hard you push the accelerator. If you travel across the country at 10 miles per hour, you're going to need 40 years. The slow lane is predisposed to mediocrity because the numbers are always mediocre. The slow lane is risky because its variables are uncontrollable and leverage is absent. ULL really means you'll never get rich. Yet lifestyle is the one variable slow laners can effectively manipulate. Unfortunately, this quickly turns slow lane life into a stale exhibition of misery. Yes, settle for less. Wealth fail, wrong equation, wrong variable. At some point, the slow laner realizes he can't force the stock market to yield bigger returns. He can't force a 200% pay raise. He can't afford an advanced education to raise intrinsic value. Job hopping offers little incremental pay upgrades. The slow laner is enslaved to his equation and resorts to manipulating the only controllable variable, personal net income, which is increased by reducing expenses. Personal net income equal intrinsic value minus personal expenses. Slow lane gurus praise this strategy. The edicts are clear: pay down your debt, dump the new car for an old one, raise your insurance deductibles, cancel your credit cards and pay cash for everything, quit buying $10 coffee at Starbucks, bag your lunch, shop in bulk, spend 4 hours clipping coupons. Come on, buddy, slash those expenses. Someday you're going to be rich. Hilarious. These tiresome strategies are a classic response to being stuck in the slow lane. Lifestyle degradation. When you're married to a bad wealth equation, this is resistance. This is like getting a divorce by sleeping on the couch. This is like never batting in a baseball game and expecting to win. Since wealth is tied to time and can't be controlled, you're left with kitchen scraps. Lifestyle degradation in the form of expense reduction. Yup, become a cheapskate. Wrong. Hoodwinking expenses does not create wealth. You can't win the money game always playing defense. You must go on offense. Exploding income and controlling expenses creates wealth. For example, when I routinely earned $100,000 per month, I accumulated wealth fast because I maintained control over my expenses. As my income exponentiated, expenses grew linearly and weren't neglected. If my income increased by 100%, expenses only grew by 10%. I didn't accumulate wealth because of expense dickery. Income explosion and expense control created wealth. So what happens when a slow laner commits to the expense variable? Life becomes about what you can't do. You can't buy that coffee. You can't take that trip. You can't buy your kids a decent pair of shoes. You can't own a dream car. You can't subscribe to the movie channels. Yes, the good old sacrifice your today for the promise of tomorrow. You settle. Slow lane victory, fame, or a geriatric ward? Why invest in a plan that consumes 40 years of your life and fails most of the time? I wouldn't. The dreary reality is that slow lane failure doesn't happen overnight. Failure transpires over the years like a termite-infested woodshed. And when its denizens come to judgment, it's too late. Yes, slow lane victory is as tough as the truck stop sirloin. In a 2002 AARP survey, 69% of the respondents said they would need to work past retirement age. A year earlier, 45% said they wouldn't need to work into their 70s and 80s. We can deduce something disturbing from this data. The slow lane's failure rate is near 70%. Despite the risks, despite the mathematical limitations, despite the typical 5-day trade for a weekend, despite all of it, you might stand firm and try your luck. While victory isn't impossible, I need mention a few things. Slow lane winners are usually extremely talented, elderly, or overworked. How to win the slow lane? The secret exit. The slow lane can be defined if you find its secret exit. It's get out of jail free card that neutralizes the limitations of uncontrollable limited leverage. That secret slow lane escape? Fame. Fame breaks the mathematical limitations of intrinsic value. Those who defy the slow lane are the most pervasive in our culture because of fame. The pro athletes, rappers, musicians, actors, and entertainers. If you want to bludgeon the slow lane's weakness, you need to get famous. Why? Fame and notoriety carries a high intrinsic value. People pay extraordinary rates for you and your services, even if, like a reality show star, you have no skills. When a 20-year-old basketball player leaves college and scores a $30 million contract, you've just witnessed slow lane defiance. When an actress lands a $15 million lead role in a major motion picture, you've just witnessed slow lane defiance. When an obese, freckly-faced Irish guy ascends from waiter to top finalist on American Idol, the limitations of the slow lane roadmap are shattered because intrinsic value explodes. Suddenly, intrinsic value has leverage because of demand. Unfortunately, most people who seek wealth do so through slow lane defiance, not via the fast lane. Fortune-leading fames are the obvious attack. Why do stadiums breach to capacity for American Idol auditions? Fame explodes intrinsic value. You can defy the slow lane's limitations by becoming so indispensable that your value to society skyrockets. If millions seek you, you will be paid millions. Pro basketball player LeBron James is paid millions because his skills are in short supply. Famous actors and entertainers are paid millions because millions demand their brand in entertainment form. Extreme talent is paid extremely well. Overworked into corporate management. The other highly sought after slow lane secret exit is good old corporate management. No doubt you've heard the slow lane missive, climb the corporate ladder. When a corporate CEO cashes $20 million in stock options, you've witnessed another slow lane defiance. Surely you've heard about all those overpaid CEOs of large companies raking in the big dough. Have you ever looked at their age? Exclusive of the founders and owners, most of them are in their 50s and 60s. Obviously, the roads through corporate management don't happen overnight. From mailroom to CEO can take 40 years. And if it does, you certainly don't get there by taking it easy. No, you arrive early and leave late. Sorry, I don't have 40 years of patience waiting for that golden parachute to land in my backyard. Successful slow laners get stuck in the middle. I have no desire to be famous or to be a corporate drone. Heck, I don't even own a suit or tie. So how would I climb the corporate ladder? If you're allergic to fame and corporate ascension as a road to riches, what's left? Society enforces the slow lane as your only option. Unfortunately, that strategy leads straight into the middles, middle class or middle age. Every lottery has a winner. Bad odds have winners. Odd laners, slow laners who succeed using a slow lane strategy, who survive the slow lane roadmap, eventually become millionaires. But please, don't pop the cheap champagne quite yet. The distinction between a slow lane millionaire and a fast lane millionaire is like the difference between a Buick and a Ferrari. When you recognize the difference, you can critique advice properly and assign it to its correct fast lane or slow lane box. Millionaires are rich, or are they? I recently read an article about a young woman named Callie from the UK who several years ago won millions in a lottery, only to lose most of it shortly thereafter. Of course, lose implies that the entire bag of cash flew out of the car while cruising down the boulevard in her brand new convertible. She didn't lose it, she spent it. She was just 16 years old when she won the $3 million, and it took only 6 years for her to blow it. Drugs, partying, exotic cars, breast implants, and a jaw-dropping $730,000 in designer clothes. The problem? Callie thought she was rich and spent like she was rich. Surely she bought into her title, I'm a millionaire. While $3 million is a decent chunk of change, she needed $30 million for her lifestyle. Which brings us to our famous word, millionaire. When you hear that word, what do you think? Like wealth, you probably have visions of an extravagant lifestyle, boats, helicopters, mansions, and expensive jewelry. For decades, the term millionaire has been ubiquitously used to describe someone rich. Except these visions of opulence describe a lifestyle of a millionaire elevated by the fast lane, not the slow lane. Slow lane millionaires who don't escape by fame or corporate bastardization live differently. They own homes in innocuous middle-class neighborhoods. They drive unassuming cars like Hondas or Toyotas. They vacation infrequently. They limit their dining expenses. They cut coupons and they max out their 401ks. They work 5 days a week at jobs they most likely hate and diligently save 10% of their paychecks. Others own small businesses, franchises, and retail stores. Several national best-selling books have enlightened us. Yes, these are the millionaires next door. Sadly, in today's terms, a millionaire net worth of $1 million is simply upper middle class. A millionaire is not rich. 5 million is the old 1 million. Depressing, I know. This hidden truth is why many lottery winners go broke after a few years. Winners envision the lavish lifestyle and live it, not knowing that several $1 million won't support it. If you win $1 million, which after taxes is only $600,000, your lifestyle shouldn't change. If you try to live the millionaire lifestyle as shown on television, a fool and his money are soon parted. Playing the lottery is a symptom of the sidewalk. So why would it shock anyone to discover that a newly crowned lottery winner goes broke just years later? Lottery winners assign rich to the word millionaire, so their fortune is fast spent on the icons of wealth, and soon thereafter they are bankrupt. The word millionaire fooled them. Millionaire is middle class. To live a lifestyle normally reserved for millionaires, you will have to amass far more than $1 million. Having $1 million doesn't entitle you to a lifestyle of the rich and famous. You need at least $10 million for that. So when the media spoon feeds you the word millionaire, determine its perspective. Is it slow lane and middle class, or fast lane and rich? 12 distinctions between slow lane and fast lane millionaires. Slow lane millionaires make millions in 30 years or more. Fast lane millionaires make millions in 10 years or less. Slow lane millionaires need to live in middle class homes. Fast lane millionaires can live in luxury estates. Slow lane millionaires have MBAs. Fast lane millionaires hire people with MBAs. Slow lane millionaires let their assets drift by market forces. Fast lane millionaires control their assets and possess the power to manipulate their value. Slow lane millionaires can't afford exotic cars. Fast lane millionaires can afford to drive whatever they want. Slow lane millionaires work for their time. Fast lane millionaires have time working for them. Slow lane millionaires are employees. Fast lane millionaires hire employees. Slow lane millionaires have 401ks. Fast lane millionaires offer 401ks. Slow lane millionaires use mutual funds and the stock market to get rich. Fast lane millionaires use them to stay rich. Slow lane millionaires let other people control their income streams. Fast lane millionaires control their income streams. Slow lane millionaires are cheap with money. Fast lane millionaires are cheap with time. Slow lane millionaires use their house for net worth. Fast lane millionaires use their house for residency. The fast lane isn't about becoming the next middle-class millionaire with tiresome mandates about what you cannot do. It's about what you can do. The next time you hear about the millionaire next door, discern which millionaires they describe: fast lane ultra wealthy or upper middle class. The fast lane is an escape from the upper middle class and into an ultra wealthy stratum, an ascension where life has few monetary restraints. Chapter summary: fast lane distinctions. The slow lane has 7 dangers, 5 of which cannot be controlled. The risk of lifestyle is the one risk slow laners will try to control. The slow lane is predisposed to mediocrity because its mathematical universe is mediocre. Slow laners manipulate the expense variable because it is the one thing they can control. Exponential income growth and expense management creates wealth, not just by curtailing expenses. You can break the slow lane equation by exploding your intrinsic value via fame or insider corporate management. Successful slow laners not famous or in corporate management end in the middle class and middle age. Slow lane millionaires are stuck in the middle class. $5 million is the new $1 million. A millionaire cannot live a millionaire lifestyle without financial discipline. Lottery winners fall into the millionaire trap and go broke because they attempt to live a millionaire lifestyle, not understanding that a few million doesn't go very far.